Good morning. Today's December 2nd, and it's finally time to start pruning my fig trees. I've been waiting for a couple of weeks for this day, so pretty excited. I'm eager to get the trees pruned and to get the plastic on the fig house. We've had some really cold nights lately, down into the 20s, nothing lower than I'd say about 24. But you know, I'm getting anxious because I don't have the plastic on yet, and I don't want to have to rush all in the last minute. So anyway, I've been waiting because I come out here and I nick the trees, and I've been having some sap flow still. So, you know, I've just been waiting and watching, and now it's finally stopped. As of about a week ago, it's really slowed down to just like a bare bubble. So we're going to get started on these. This video is going to be like a continuation to some of the videos I posted earlier this summer, where I showed how I pinch my young fig trees and establish a vase shape. I did that on these two trees. These are the ones we're going to prune today. I did that last year and established the shape, and then this year I kind of just tended the shape. As branches grew in places I didn't want them, I pinched them off, and then I kind of kept the branches that I did want so that I would have minimal pruning, winter pruning. So let's take a look at the trees first. And this tree here, this is an Azores Dark. And you can see we have some nice branching. We have the scaffolding branches. There's 5 at the moment. I'm thinking we're going to take this one off. As you can see, I came in here and I marked some of these trees already on branches that I thought I would be removing. I may not do it the way that I marked, but I'm probably going to go with either 2 or 3 branches in a split, and then, you know, I'll take off anything that's pointed towards the center, like this one. And this tree is probably going to have 4 main scaffold branches. And then after we're finished with this one, we're going to come over here to the Smith, and this is going to be about the same thing. I'll take this center one off, and then we'll thin out some of these branches. But let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to take off anything that's pointed towards the center or pointed down. Since I pinched during the season, I don't have anything pointed down, but I do have some that were pointed to the center. So we'll just come in here and take these off. And we have another on this side. And this one's a little pointed towards the center, but I think I'm going to leave it. And maybe I'll just put a bamboo stake in here and pull it out just a little bit, because I kind of like the spread that I get off of this one, and this one. This one's coming. We're going to take that one off. So these cuts that I'm doing up close to here, not like on the tip of the branch or on the branch itself, these ones that are up close, these are heading cuts. I'm just coming in as close as I can, and I'm removing this branch entirely. And then if anything does bud out of here, like next spring, I'll just knock those off with my finger as the season progresses. That way the tree won't be wasting any energy growing branches where I don't want them. All right. So the rest of this is going to be heading cuts. And the shape that I'm looking for in the fig house, because I have limited space overhead, I do want to keep these about chest high is what I'm shooting for. Chest to shoulder high is where I want to establish my scaffolding branches. So I'm going to come along and I'm going to take some of these away. I'm actually thinking I'm going to take this center one out. And of course, you want to make sure that you're cleaning your pruners, definitely between your trees and stuff. Where you use them, make sure they're nice and sharp. And then we're going to take out this branch here in the center. This could stay. It does go to the outside nice, but it just seems a little crowded to me. So I'm going to take this one away. So there's really nothing to it, pruning fig trees. even if you mess up, they're going to grow back. So you don't really have to stress over it. Just get out here and get it done. Get the shape that you're looking for, whatever that shape might be. So we're getting there. Now we'll just make some heading cuts on these branches that we have left. This one seems to crowd the center of these a little bit. Not sure if I'm going to want to keep that. You know what? I'll keep it for now, and I'll just air layer it if it gets in the way next summer. No big deal. So when you make these cuts, you see here's your node, and then you have your little bud. This is where the branch is going to come out. What I like to do is I choose one of these buds that's pointed in a direction I want next season's branch to grow. So this one grows towards the center. That's good because I do a lot of walking out here, so I don't want it crowding my space. So I'll just go about, that's about 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch above the bud, and I cut on a little bit of an angle, and I cut with the angle of the bud. That's it. Super simple. Same thing over here. Whoa. And right here, you want to try to keep your cuts kind of level so that no one branch has like dominance over all the others, because that's how they're going to grow. The highest one's going to get the most energy. So you want to try to keep them all about level if you can. It's not a big deal if it does happen. If one seems to grow a little bit more than the others and you want to slow it down during the growing season, all you have to do is pinch the tip of it. And you're pinching it for shape. You're not pinching it for fruit. You just take the tip off of that one branch and you can slow it down. And it'll catch up. It'll take about 2 or 3 weeks and it'll catch right back up. All right. It's about level. Good enough. Okay, so I'm going to pick up all the sticks here and clean my tools, and then we'll get on to the smith tree. Before we get started on the next tree, I'd like to mention something that you may have spotted in the background. Probably saying to yourself, Chris, why do you have so many air layers still in your trees? It's December, way too late for air layers. And that is true. What I did this year is I was experimenting with pre-rooting some of my cuttings. And I put them on the beginning of September. In hindsight, I probably should have put them on in the beginning of August, because I only got about 30% success. And it was the air layers that were low down to the ground, and especially over top of these barrels. The ones that were closest to the heat sources, they seemed to root out just fine. But everything that was high up on the tree, with the exception of a couple different varieties, they really didn't root out. So let's just talk for one moment about winter and air layers. In 7A, which is my zone, I have not had any success wintering over air layers that were high up on the tree and were small. Anything that's like this ball size, or even the larger cups like the 32 or 40 ounce cups, they don't do well over the winter here because, you know, I guess they freeze or whatever. They actually killed some of my branches. I tried it last year. Lost a few branches doing it. Most of the roots that were inside the air layers did not survive the winter, so I don't recommend trying to winter over any air layers on your tree if they're going to be outside. Like in this situation, I let the fig house get down to 20 degrees in the winter, and you know, it just freezes. Maybe if they were in your garage they would do okay. I'm really not sure. That's not how I store mine. So that being said, large air layers like this is a 3-gallon bucket. This will survive the winter if it's down low to the ground. Now, I've never tried one high up on a tree, tried wintering over one that was up off the ground. Everything I've done has been down low to the ground, and I do a lot of them, and they survive the winter just fine. I think it actually, having the soil around the trunk of the tree actually insulates the trunk of the tree, you know, protects it from the cold somewhat. I have some large in-ground trees that I've been doing this on for years, and I've never had anything die back below the soil line. I've had the trees die down to it, but I've never had anything die below the soil line when I've had these larger ones on. And one thing that I do this time of year, you know, since I've been waiting for these trees to go dormant, I've had a lot of time, is I'll put some of these air layers on now, knowing that like next year I want to take this branch off, you know, and I'll make a tree out of it. So I'll put this on now. It will not grow any roots over the winter, but in the spring it's already there. It's on and it's ready to go. So when this tree wakes up, it'll start putting out roots, and you know, I've got a head start on the amount that of work I have to do in the spring, we'll say. So one thing to keep in mind, if you're going to put these on, they're going to be on a long time, especially these large buckets. You're probably going to be mid to late summer that you'll be taking them off, or you could just wait until dormancy, which is usually what I do. I'll wait until the tree goes dormant and then I cut these things off. So that being said, the diameter of some of these trees is going to like double in that amount of time. So you want to keep that in mind, and when you do cut your hole in your bucket, make it at least, you know, double the size of the diameter the tree is now. So that's what I do. I make them large and pop them on. Now this time of year I don't damage the bark in any way. I don't scratch it. I don't girdle anything. I don't use any rooting hormone. I just put it on there, put some tape on here, and I'll fill it with my medium, and that's it. And then I leave it, and in the spring when the tree wakes up, roots come out and we're good to go. So let's get back to work. Our Smith tree has a really wide footprint. As you can see, it grew like outward. This thing kind of wanted to be a little bush, and it did send up a lot of suckers, which I took off during the growing season. And we established these scaffolding branches. We have 4 main scaffolding branches. Last year we had these all set, and this was the end of the growth point last year. And you can see it put on a lot of growth. This thing's all the way up to the roof. But what we're going to do today is we're going to come in and we're going to take this center trunk out, branch, because I don't want anything shading from the center, and we're just going to let it have a nice wide spread. This tree can be a little bit wider than my other trees because it's in the corner, and it's really, I don't walk over there, so I'll let it go out just a little bit more on that side, and then I'll keep this where my little walkway is kind of cleaned up a little bit tighter. And I may, well, I will put some bamboo stakes in here and pull these branches in just to get the right shape, and also so that I can put the rest of my potted trees in here for the winter. I need a lot of space. So that's what we're going to do. All right, so we don't really have any branches pointed downward, and we don't have any branches pointed towards the center on this one. So what we are going to do, though, is we're going to take away this center branch. What's the best way to cut this guy? On these flat cuts, like this one potentially could be a flat cut right in the center of the tree. I don't want it to be flat because I don't want water to set on the open wound of the tree, really. Like this will heal over and everything, but I don't want it to be a place where water will just sit on it. So I'm going to cut it on a slight angle so that it can drain off. You really should be cutting all your pruning cuts should be on just a little bit of an angle, so there's nowhere for the water to pool when it rains. There you go. I'm not going to do it in the video, but I do come through, and with these larger cuts I will seal this. Alright, so that cut is done. Let me see if there's any other ones I could do with the saw. Make sure when you're cutting these branches that you do hold the branch steady, because they will have a tendency to peel the bark when you're using the saw. Clippers snip right through them easy, but you got to be a little bit more careful with the saw. Okay. Now I think I can pick you up and bring you along while we cut these branches. So marking the tree is useful when it comes time to actually do the pruning. That way you don't have to stand here and keep staring at it. Do it when you have time. I did these when I was waiting for the sap to stop flowing. This branch here, I think that this branch right here in the middle, this is going to crowd these two. So I'm actually going to just remove this one. Go with our little bud there. I try to choose branches that have buds pointed out, or buds that are pointed out when I have this type of situation where they're kind of close together. And this one I chose because it's pointing in, because I don't want the tree, you know, out here where we walk. We don't need this little guy. Wait, where's my bud? Okay. All right. Put that in my pile of cuttings. And then it looks like this is the last one. Oh, no, this one too. This one's pointed kind of down and out. It's in a spot where it would be okay, but just to keep the tree a little bit more symmetrical, I'm going to remove it. All right. I think we're about done. Yep. Okay, that's it, guys. We got both of these trees finished. Okay, well, that's all there is to it. If you guys liked the video, give us a like, consider subscribing if you'd like to see more of these videos, and thanks for watching.